what I like about using this on the iPad is when it works, because sometimes it gets a little weird. I have to like mess with it and I'll get it working again. But the pencil, I got the little pencil in here, so I could mark up the screen. Be like, okay, for me, one of the things people normally don't talk about, oops, is the internet. I always hear people say, what is it? I think they say audio is like number one, and then was it lighting number two, and then last would be your camera. But I think it's also important to take in consideration your internet and your computer because a lot of people do not know that they have to deal with their upload speeds. And then network and internet to me are two different things. So your network is the actual devices, how things connect, your range. I mean, that all plays in. And then computer. A lot of people have older computers and they might be higher spec, some of them, but you're still dealing with older computers. And when it comes to electronics, old is like 2 years. Let's be honest. Let's be real. To us as consumers, if you were to tell me that I just spent $1,500 on a computer and then 2 years later it's considered old, we don't like to hear that. But realistically, technology is always advancing. Technology is always changing. So a computer that's over 2 years old, it's not the same. It's not the same. The, the newer the computer, it's always going to be the better. And it doesn't have to be super high end. I mean, look at the M1s. I mean, base model Mac Mini will stream like no other. And yeah, you could do better with higher end, but I mean, as a baseline, it's an amazing computer. And then I would transition to this, and I think I was playing around with this, so that transition looked a little weird. But understanding uh, the correlation between the video quality, the frame rate, and the upload speed required. I mean, a lot of people I keep seeing that they want to do that 4K. I mean, that's a lot of requirements, not just on the computer and the resources, the equipment you're going to need to do 4K, but just the internet. I want to say this should be the sweet spot right here. These two, 1080p, whether it's 30 or 40, 30 or 60. I mean, my first video that I have on YouTube, my oldest, was 280. So I'm not gonna cry at 720, but I like 1080, 60 personally. And then I could, like go to the next one, talk about networks. This is Comcast, so this is what you get from Comcast. It's okay depending on the size of your location and your needs are. This could be a little bit better, especially if you want more range doing a mesh network. Now, someone made a comment that blew my mind because it made zero sense if you thought about it. Someone made a comment somewhere where they're like, wire this to your Comcast box, wire this to your Comcast box, and wire this to your Comcast box. That way you could have a stable mesh network. This is not a mesh network. A mesh network is when you have a physical cable from one unit going to your internet service provider's device, and you are wirelessly shooting that internet access to another device and then another device, which you can connect to. This is a mesh network. As soon as you attempt to wire that to there and that to there, that's not mesh. It's not a wireless mesh network. That's you adding multiple access points. And I don't even know if you could do that with these devices because these devices are designed to be meshed. The way you would use this is you would connect the main one there, and then you would add the second, third. What's nice about this system is you could add a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh. We just removed these. I probably have about 30 of them laying around somewhere. And then to me, this is like gold standard. It's a little much, but it's not crazy. But this still wires into here. And then this thing will do everything else. And what I like about this, and I say this is the gold standard, is this is what I call modular, because your wireless, your access point is this top part. You have a switch here, and then this does all your firewall routing and stuff. But you could add another access point, and now this could be installed in a different room. If you want to, let's say, like me, internet in my garage, I could add another access point and wirelessly have it connect to this access point, and now I have internet on this side. So this is something you could do a lot with. And then I would move over to something like this. I mean, you could use PC, but at this point, I'm not. So as far as a computer, I think this is good enough on the low side. Base model Mac Mini, that's what I have. Base model MacBook Pro, 13-inch, what I have. I haven't done a lot of streaming with the laptop yet, but I've been doing quite a bit with the Mac Mini. And as far as computers, if you have the base model of the Mac Mini, you're good. If you could spend a little extra, get 16 gigs of RAM. Don't concern yourself with storage. So many people are so concerned with storage. You could get external storage and connect it to the Mac Mini. If you are actually going to have it for storage and not video editing and everything, you could get a NAS. I have a NAS. I only have 4 terabytes in that, but I could do up to probably 60, 80, or whatever terabytes if I wanted to. Do you need software? No, you don't. But it's nice to have. Do you need an iPad? No, you don't. But it's nice to have. That's what I'm using. But don't have to be super fancy. This alone as your streaming computer, you're good to go. What else we got here? Audio. The reason I have these is because these are the ones I actually own. I like this one. I like this one more. And this is the MV7, and this is the Q2U. You could probably buy 3 of these for the price of 1 of these. Just saying. And what I really like about these are they are USB mics and XLR mics. So if you don't have a Rodecaster, a Cloud Lifter, or whatever any of those things are, I do not. It's one of the things I do not own because I don't see the need. Because I normally just use one mic. To me, that's getting, more fancy, multiple mics, that kind of stuff. I really don't see, in my case, needing something like that. But this is what I'm using right now. Auto settings. I'm not doing anything fancy. And then I could go into the lighting, and this is actually my lighting. So right now I'm using this and this. I own these, but I don't prefer them over this GVM. I like the GVM a lot more. And I got the little lights, and I got additional lights, but I could come in here and address lighting a little bit. Again, everything I want to talk about is always basic. And then moving on from there, hey, what's going on, Steve? These are like the cameras. I'm just like running through some scenes and running through some information. I might try to do a video, maybe for tomorrow for the channel, going through some things. So it's just like a whole streaming recording like run through. These are the cameras I use. I actually have a little bit more than this because I do also have the Canon M50, the original. But to me, this could be okay. I love these because they're so versatile. And this is kind of like my highest end one, which is the one I'm using now. But keep in mind, you use this, now you're going to need the capture card. I still have to practice writing on here. You're going to need the capture card. You're going to need HDMI cables. You have to deal with settings and configurations and a bunch of other things. And I just wrote on the screen and I'm covering it with my camera, so that's okay. But, you know, this is plug and play. This is a little bit more advanced, but if you could deal with it, they're amazing in my opinion. And this and above, you need to know your stuff. I've seen so many issues. So many issues. Mirrorless. Canon is an example because I own it, but I mean, you know, mirrorless. Now you're getting into lenses, if you could even change them. That's why I'm not a fan of the Sony ZV-1. I want to have more options. I want to change the lenses and stuff. The Sony ZV-10 I heard is amazing. I'm holding back because I need to stop spending money. But I keep hearing mixed information. My understanding with the Sony ZV-10 is, and it's even on their website, fully charge the battery, connect it to your computer directly with with the provided USB cable. Go into the settings. Make sure you adjust the settings and you could stream with it. I have people telling me, "Oh, you have to have a dummy battery." Not according to Sony. Not according to other people that I know that had the Sony. Now they might have moved to using dummy batteries, but there's a difference between what's necessary and what you prefer. So I mean, I get confused when different people say different things. I mean, it's like you're both using Sony's, but you're both claiming different needed setup. That, oh, you know, it's like whatever. Well, see, that's where you get different. Once you start using a capture card, you're dealing with things a little bit differently. But I mean, the fact that you could stream with the USB, but yet I have people telling me that, yeah, I use it with the USB cable, but I also have a dummy battery because you have to have one. No, don't use the word have to. And then when I ask you to back that up, you're like, well, that's what they told me. Well, that's because you're listening to people. And yes, they're people you love and trust, but there's documentation even on the Sony website saying you have to do it a certain way, but you could do it. I've had people like, well, my battery dies. Yeah, because you're still drawing, you know, you have to basically tell it in the settings to draw the power from the computer. It's like you plugging it into your computer, it's getting charged, it's charging the battery. But there's a settings or something for that. And I mean, I don't read the book, I don't read manuals, but I found it on their website. But again, it's personal preference. If you want to have it on a dummy battery, my understanding is it gets hot when it's on its own battery, but then you have to adjust the settings to be high temperature. I just don't like the word have to. I think that's my biggest problem when people use that word and I know better. Most people don't. Most people don't do the research. They just want you to tell them. And that's one of the reasons why I never liked it, but I understand it. Where people are like, "What's that? What's the? Was it it? Oh no, not a B. It's a D. Depends. It depends because it depends on what you're doing. It depends on your preference, your setup, your this, your that, your internet, your this, your that. I mean, there's so much stuff. And then software, same thing. Do you have to use ECAMM? No, but I prefer ECAMM right now over anything else. I've used OBS. I can still use OBS. I could use OBS with ECAMM because I'll use OBS on my Windows computers. See, I still can't spell. And bring them into ECAMM with NDI, and then I could do all the OBS stuff on the other computer remotely. If you have multiple people, you could run multiple shows by just bringing in, other computers. And obviously, Windows doesn't support ECAMM or vice versa. I mean, I'll use ECAMM. Keynotes. I'm using Keynotes now. I'm loving Keynotes. Canva. I love Canva. That's how I got this clean image. These are like 5 different pictures that I took and I cleaned them up. I did the was it transparency and all that stuff with Canva. I'm loving Canva. Restream. You don't have to use any software really, but you don't have to use OBS, which is it's a learning curve. You don't have to use ECAMM. You could use Restream. I mean, there's so many options out there. It's just crazy, in my opinion. And that was it for my little slide. And I mean, I'm loving the iPad. Doing all this stuff with the iPad, I'm loving it. But I mean, you have to do your research and you have to take what people say, even if you feel they know a lot. My opinion is you always have to take what people say with a grain of salt. Um, I have more faith in people that talk about stuff they actually have and use and can show you. Like when I say I don't have an issue with my Canon turning off. I mean, how long have I been streaming? I've been streaming now about 20 minutes or more. My camera doesn't turn off. When I say the Mevo starts look good, you just got to be careful with your lighting and everything. I think this camera looks good. It's a Mevo start. This is a Mevo start. And this might be a good angle for like demoing stuff. And then you got some people that like to, demo or show things off this way. This camera right here is a Mevo start. Oh, well, webcams look horrible. This is a webcam. I don't think this looks horrible. I might have to tweak lighting or tweak something to make it look a little bit better. Well, you can't do 4K on that. You can't do 4K on this. I could do 4K on this. I don't want to do 4K, so I don't care. Take care and enjoy.